Hi, welcome to the summit. Your wait is over. Women over 50 and postmenopausal women scaling back is the name of the summit. And the intention of this series of conversations is to empower these women with information and practical tips that allow you or them to lose the weight and get your vitality back. And so I'm the host, Jean Natray, and I'm a weight loss expert. And today we're talking with Aliky. She's in Australia, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm here in Australia today.
Where you live, right?
Yeah, absolutely. By the beach just over there.
Ah, too bad. Yes, great.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so a little bit more about her. She guides success-minded entrepreneurs, business professionals, and highly conscious spiritual seekers, as well as mothers, to align with the frequency of the divine soul blueprint to co-create abundance in all areas of their life so that they can manifest quickly the lifestyle that they would love to live. Yay. So thanks for being here with us. I know you have some really wonderful, juicy information for us. So what are some of the one or two tips that you can give to postmenopausal women that makes it somewhat easier to lose weight?
Okay, so the one or two tips. Firstly, thanks for having me on this summit. I'm really enthused to share some of the work that we do. I think it's quite unique and it's definitely different, but it's definitely accessible and really integration based in your life, right? So the one or two tips, I mean, if I was going to net it out straight up, is if you love yourself more and appreciate yourself more, everything else appreciates as you lighten up your load. That's literally it. And if you identify what's holding you back from losing weight, literally and actually and factually, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is on whatever level from the past or the fear you have of being your ideal weight, then once you hit that and you have the awareness of that and the natural essence of your own guide comes in to help you be the agent of awareness, observation, right. Then you make a change and then you take a high quality action, or because we're yin and feminine, and a lot of women will be on this call, you take no action at all. And you come into the peace, the lightness of the load.
Right. So you don't take any action, you just kind of hand it over to the universe to some degree?
To a lot of degree, because part of that is surrendering and faith. And part of that is knowing, as a woman, when you find that, if you look at the photo of a child or your child, or that love that you have, that real feeling that you can bring in to your heart, that actually is a glean of your soul connection, because that soul or that intuition or that instinct or that little whisper that you keep hearing when you're a lot more less mental, so to speak, or more in your body or feeling with your senses, not going into the emotional like polarities, right, but feeling in the senses. When you feel that and there's a sense of calm,
yes,
the whispers come in. That is in action, if I do say so myself. Even though you can be a marathon runner and find that zone and get that epiphany, that can happen too in that flow state. But the inaction, the yin receiving state is your divine, like it's your nature. And that's where I say action or inaction.
Yes, that's always good to remember. We don't need to take as much action as we think we do, darn it. Or, actually, but
even though the to-do list keeps getting longer and longer, right?
They sure do. Well, actually, one of the first questions really should be, what inspired you to choose your area of expertise?
Well, thank you for asking. Firstly, I'm a mother, and that's what I do. Like I'm really a mother, and that's part of my dharma. That's my thing. And I love to nurture self and my son and others. That's just how I roll. But part of that is it's all come from a major sort of a background in, I would say, having, you know, the idea that I could learn and love to learn a lot of different aspects to find my own balance. Now, I'm in my 40s, so I'm just going to say that even though I know you're saying scale back after 50, I work with a lot of women in the 50s, 60s, 70s, primarily because of the hormone balancing and the ailment work that we do to scan truth in matter to identify root cause, whether it's subconscious or physical representation. So my background comes, you know, with yoga, with corporation, with career, with traveling internationally, with studying from the best teachers on the planet, in my humble opinion, of universal laws, of metaphysical work, of energetic work, of Chinese traditional medicine work, and then also the most advanced form of healing known to mankind today at the soul level. Because the optimum way is to connect to that soul and that intelligence that also awakens the awareness of the knowledge of the particles within and around you at all times. The answers are always here. You have everything you need. So my background now is you know, competitive sports to state, national levels, working for international global companies. I'm a high achiever, so I like to do things that I do to a point of excellence. You know, that includes music and all those things. So I've learned a lot of that by finding the balance and the essence of what keeps all of it sustainable and the high frequency, so I can sustain that healthy, thriving life. And health has been my wealth my entire life because I've worked at it and I've learned about it. So that's why part of, you know, me being on the call today, I believe I can provide some insight and some value of how you can also connect with your deep desires, what it is that is important to you, and help you uncover maybe, you know, your soul's mission or purpose to some degree, and actually take 2 or 3 high quality simple actions to cultivate more of that joy. Because there's one thing that I have always had is a lot of energy. So my background has been in a lot of areas, partly from curiosity, but partly because I love to help people achieve their perceived goals, but really be more of who they are here to be, because that is the ripple effect that creates joy, contentment, nurture. And your last name's Natra, you know, nature, and your connection with your nature. So my background has been a lot of curiosity, a lot of lessons in compassion and love, and serving people to master my own skills, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. So what are the top 2 traits holding most people back from truly living the life that they would love and literally lighten up their load? In this case, as we're talking about excess weight.
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, the 2 traits that I'm going to categorize, because they can mean many things to you listening, is fear and guilt. Because if we were in the future, imagine fear or the false evidence appearing real, we're ahead of ourselves and we can have the anxiety or the fight or flight or the fear, right? And that reactionary mode that puts us, our autonomic nervous system, out of kilter, and possibly ourselves, right? Because we've kind of lost our poise, we've lost our gratitude, we've lost our sense of contentment in the now, because that's actually all we have. Because and that's the first thing. The second trait is the guilt, and the guilt or the baggage or the shame. And I want to honor you for who you are on this call right now, because there are some people that are carrying some load.
Yes. Oh,
they're really.
And I'm with you. I want to nurture people, especially women in this category that we're talking about, because we you know, we really can't do it alone. We definitely need support in many areas of our life. It's my experience.
1,000%. And I love that you said that, because Jean, what you're doing and hosting this event and helping people and you out there listening for sake of yourself and who and what is important to you in your life is to self-nurture yourself, and do it with group of women,
yes,
you know, and or men, but that's going to hold the container and the space for you, because it's tough being a lone ranger, because at the end of the day, you learn and thrive through relationships with self, nature, and others. And as a woman, you have so much within you, and I understand there can be a lot of stuff that's held within the cells and within the body and within the baggage and within the minds and the mindset and the heart and the subconscious and then the past stuff. It can hinder a woman from shining so brightly because
Yes.
you all have it. And I've seen it in everybody that gets one breakthrough and then another one, because they're like, once you know these laws or these tools or this awakening process, you don't want to unlearn it. You become the soul seeker and you're more of an observer, and your awareness, you get to embrace it and see it as feedback mechanism. So the second trait is the guilt, the fear and the shame and the guilt from the past that you're bringing into the present. And one other point I'll mention, the vibration and the quality of what you hold now, the frequency, like the love frequency or the less than love frequency, all the universe, source, your spirit is your makeup of your spiritual structures. Once that's really pure and purified, the soul really comes in and you hold and anchor more. So you're actually holding, you're holding a lot of beautiful space for you to be more of you. My point being, the universe or God, source, whatever you want to say, only sees you at a point in time. And when you accumulate that point in time belief, that heart, that grace, that gratitude, when you are thankful, you have more to be thankful for and you receive more. Because the art of being a feminine and a woman is to be radiant, resilient, and receiving too, right? You're giving and receiving, but all the nature will see is that moment in time. And you'll get that lesson in love to awaken that and keep doing it. That's why we have cycles. That's why we can sabotage in the same thing, but that's why we can then get the new level of revelation or next step and then decide, well, I've been here before. I've transcended that. I've mastered it. I know how to get through it again. And you cultivate your strength through your values that typically fill the void. So my point is that point in time, which is now,
yes,
is all that is
always.
seen.
Yes.
And the idea is that we become more beautiful and radiant from the inside out, because the outer world will reflect that back to us.
Yes, and for the most part, just to possibly be redundant, we don't know how to do that here in this culture, in this Western culture, which probably includes...
Well, we're so busy. I mean, a device, another one. Oh my gosh, you're consistently accessible. The rest time, the self-love time, even like the managing your, the mastery of the area of your life, maybe your sanctuary in your home. Like everyone seems to be so busy. And then there's an onslaught of the untruths as well, from the belief structures and the systems, and that can spiral us into getting outside of ourselves or putting someone, on a pedestal and just being busy, really busy. And, I also did a summit called the Business Myth Summit as well, because I understand it's busy. We've all got a lot to do. There's sometimes fires we need to put out. I get it, especially as a mother. But the society and the way it is now, it's very busy. So the more that busyness keeps it away from us, more people like me and Jean and yoga studios and meditation teachers and healers pop up.
Right.
Because we want to change that.
Yeah, and we can, yeah. And in this society, we're so accustomed to, you held up your cell phone, your mini computer. We're so accustomed to going out of ourselves for information, for satisfaction, for going to technology or going to Facebook, and that kind of thing. And so, but that's not really the most powerful place for us to look or to be.
And also, what you're seeing as image that's coming in your reticular activator and in your body, because really as you see an image in a person or a beauty or something you admire or an image that you want, that's actually not realistic for you to be a size 2, and it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. Like you'd have, some people are made up like that, some people are not. So when we also distract, to your point, Jean, we're outside of ourselves, part of your energy goes to that. And then there's like possibly even a judgment about it.
No doubt.
And then it's like, well, you've just distracted yourself. And then what you're really seeing and feeling is not outside of you, it's within you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So coming back into you and your power, and again, the lightening up the load is part of that, knowing more about you, knowing you, and really starting to tune into the truth that's encoded in your soul and yourself, because it contains the intelligence and the bridge to the gap in this lifetime that you're here on the journey to experience and learn through and be remembered by, you know, because the stuff and all that doesn't go away with you. It's how you felt, loved, and what people remember you by. That is your essence. That's really what it's all about. And so with the weight loss, you know, and lightening up the load, if we can start to nurture ourselves and bring that back in to self-love, you know, and I do this shape because it's like the heart coming back in.
I love it.
And almost put stuff aside, you know. Everyone's going to have something going on. There's always going to be a news story or a flash or a commotion. Let's cultivate a little bit more of our inner peace, joy, and contentment, because that's your nature. And if source and nature, the sun and the moon, show up every day, they just show up. You know, when you see an animal and a dog or a baby or your child or family member or even yourself, and you see that love that you have within you, that is actually you. And then you want to cultivate that and then go out and do what you're here to do.
Yes.
And I hear, you know, like, I'm a mum, I'm busy, I've got a job, I got an elderly parent to look after, I'm in my 50s, I got teenage kids, they're out of, I get that. But as a woman of the household and the heart and the sanctuary, with so much co-creation energy that's within your, you know, your sexual centers, your, you know, your basic, your womb, your yoni, you know, you've got a moon cycle going on in there. You've got, you know, 28-day cycle. Whether you're still in that or not, there's the energetic representation of tuning into nature. That's actually your essence. And if we can cultivate more of that, you radiate that and people balance around you because you're not so charged. And that's how I see it working, when we can eliminate the charge but master why things are happening and flip the questions. Not like, why is this so bad to me or happened to me? That puts us into fight or flight or distracts us, right? Coming back into the heart, because you know how to cultivate that. You've got to practice. And part of my gift will give you an idea of how to cultivate that. You're not going to whack out your nervous system. You're not going to whack out your hypothalamus pituitary axis balance. Your adrenals are going to fire less. The cortisol is not going to be in your bloodstream. It's all going to come back and your adrenals are going to function optimally. Your autonomic nervous system kicks in. You breathe. And then maybe for some of you are quite sensitive on you know, listening and feeling this, is your soul bliss gets activated. And you can connect.
Your soul, what gets activated?
Your soul bliss, like your bliss, your joy.
Bliss.
Your soul, your essence.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you're designed to be, not through a substance or an addiction or a food, but just you as you.
And so when we get to who we are as who we are, that you might say is empowerment. That's we're up to here, and it sounds like it, but I just wanted to check in with you on that.
That's beautiful. That's empowerment's a great word for it. It's self-empowerment. It's empowerment from an empowered state. You get to be a master of your destiny and not a victim of your history. Right. And then take a choice. So you're in a place of power, not misusing it, but in a place of power to take the next step. And when you know what your joy is and what your values are, and this is where I can break it down to actually say, well, it's all good and feel lovey-dovey and all that, but how do I make money, or how do I survive in this planet where there's a society? Hold with me, just hold on, it's awesome. And then how do I lose weight? Well, if you can declutter your environment immediately, actually, but through that process, look at your environment and ask yourself high quality questions. Uncover your values. When you're more empowered, you're literally in your own power. You're not outside of you, like Jean pointed out before. You're not distracted. You're actually saying, hang on, I'm just going to spend the next hour figuring me out for now. What's important to me? What do I think about? What's in my immediate environment? What are some books I've got right here? What are some high quality things that I do? You know, I've got a hula hoop, a prana wheel, a yoga ball. I've got, my son's in the other room. I've got a laptop so I can communicate with you. you know, healing books over here. I've got some beautiful David's Divides, but this is, you know, me. It's like a beautiful environment. I've got the beach and the ocean and nature right next to me. That's how I get a lot of replenishment and recharge too, because it grounds you literally and actually, and takes the positive spinning charge and grounds it, so you're neutralizing positive negative. So backing up to empowerment, when you come from a place of empowering yourself with your own decision that you know is in alignment for you and for others, you can uncover that through understanding what's important to you, your values. What do you think and think about what you do? Where do you spend your money? What are you good at? Where are you organized?
Right.
And I don't want to, you know, I'm not organized. Yes, you are. Where are you organized? Where are people depending on you? Like, why are people, what do they like to ask you about? What are you good at?
Mm-hmm.
What are your gifts? When you, and again, there's a lot more questions to ask, not many, but that'll start to pinpoint like top down. Let's think soul up here somewhere, or there's a light above me, you know, up there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got head, then you've got heart, then you've got body. All those aspects get covered in the questions. And then you're like, I'm one full organism moving forward in presence, in my own empowerment. Then you say, okay, what are the areas in my life that correspond to this? And usually for women, you know, it could be physical, it could also be family, it could be also business and finance, and it can also be physical, because all of a sudden you've hit a certain point and there's stuff going on. The health needs to get ramped up. You know, there's a lot of acidic buildup, and you want to actually understand how you can bring lightness to you. So my point being is, if you get some structure around what's important to you, you know what's important, your desires, your values, you start to align your values with the hierarchy of priorities in your life. Family, physical, well, self, you know, family, physical, maybe business, finance, because most women will usually have great strain and anxiety if they're not feeling they're provided for, whether it's from a partner or monetarily as well, and they can't relax, let alone lose weight, or you know, or sleep. And then your mental, oh my God. So my point is, if you back up what's important to you, only you, not what someone else thinks is important to you, exactly, or who you've got to please, I want you to almost take the time out to please and to please you, and find that pleasure and do something funny, like, you know, movement. So again, there's values, there's alignment in values, and there's actually obviously being aware of what's holding you back. But then one other thing I'd love to mention, Jean, if I may, is if you can use fear or guilt or the traits that you might say, look, I've been abandoned or betrayed, or I've got so much on, I'm just too stressed to even make time to lose weight and work out. If it's important to you, you will do it. How do you make something important to you?
Good question.
How do you make something important to you? Okay, we get the self-appreciation, self-love, the time out for us. Well, here's a question. If you would love to lighten up your load and lose weight, and you have an ideal amount that's going to get you into your ideal weight zone, so you can get into the ideal health zone and maybe tone, cultivate, you know, do something else that's going to really tweak that, right? Like, you know, you might choose to do, you know, running, or you might choose to start pole dancing, or you might choose to dance, or you might choose to bodybuild or body sculpt. That's fine tuning, right? That's fine tuning extra special skills. But if you've got an idea in mind, here's the question. I'll give you an example. I'd love to lose at least 10 pounds in the next 2 months, okay? It's like, okay, why? Well, I just want to lose 10 pounds because I do. Or I feel I'm going to be a lot lighter. Okay, why? Ask yourself why. Then the high quality question you can say is, how does losing 10 pounds, but what's the feeling, the why? By feeling I'm in my ideal weight to help or spend more time with my teenage kids or my grandkids, serve my highest values. Something as simple as that. How does losing at least 10 pounds so that I can feel X, Y, Z that brings the joy in you? You've got to have an emotional joy aspect to why numbers. Numbers make no sense without love.
Yeah.
If you find how that links, you'll be like, I can come up with 20 ways. I can come up with 50 ways because I know what's important to me. I know my values a bit more. I also know that these are the 3-4 areas of my life. It's like, oh, I've got to put out the trash. Hey, how does carrying the trash help you lighten up your load? Well, I'm throwing trash out and I get to do biceps while I'm walking to the, I'm joking. It's funny, but you laugh, right? And you link. You could be on the treadmill. I'm doing 10,000, or I'm walking 10,000 steps today, 10,000 steps. 10,000 extra bucks in the bank, 10 pounds in 2 months. You play mind games and you have fun with it, So hopefully that brief exercise gives you an idea. If you ask yourself a high quality question, I would like to lighten my load and why, then how does lightening your load give you more of what you want? And if you really want it and desire it and you see how it links into your life, you cannot fail. Why? Because you're showing yourself appreciation, you're spending time on yourself. And guess what that means? That's called self-love, that's called empowerment, and that's also called nature. Gives you the right people, tools, resources, people come into your world. And you might be like, well, I've got this, something else holding me back. It's a thyroid issue, or I have Hashimoto's, or and look, I'm not saying this to be light. I'm saying this to be factual here, or an irritable bowel, or some chronic back pain and fatigue. This is when I go next level to share with you some of the things that we do in the work that we do. It's very angelic. And what we are able to do is identify root cause. And that could be a hormone imbalance or congested hormonal gland. It could be there's an isotype 131 that's it mimics iodine, and it's sitting as a toxin in your pineal gland and your thyroid, causing Hashimoto's. Let's get it. Let's work on that. There could be a hormonal imbalance. There could be a lymphatic percentage of speed function that's 5% when you really want to be at 100% lymphatics functioning and speed. Now, I'm not going to get too technical because clearly there's a lot more going on about how I help people.
About 5 minutes left.
Yeah. So I want to just share that with you, because what you feel's holding you back, dear one, doesn't have to. Yes. You can learn the lesson in grace and love, have people to hold the space, and there's various experts that you'll hear that Jean's brought to you, as well as what Jean does, that really may resonate with helping you where you're at, to bridge that gap, to get from here to there, because there's something yearning inside of you. And so I go very holistic about my approach, and I like to keep it simple. So I hope that helped.
It definitely does. And one more quick topic, if you don't mind. I know that you're big on mineralizing the body. So talk to us about that, the importance of that, and how that can be helpful.
Look, I love adequately mineralizing and nourishing my body chemically, right? So that the chemical balance is there. And it's because there's a mineral code book. There's so much research to show you and demonstrate now. And this isn't a pH conversation about acidity, alkalinity, the 70-30. I'm not going to go down there. You can do a P test, and obviously you work with Jean. You understand, learn about diet, alkalizing stuff. But the essence of what I'm saying is stress causes acidity in the body. Again, there's stress, multiple factors of stress. There could be, a pollution. There could be an organism. There could be electromagnetic frequency stress. There could be a nutritional stress that's causing havoc on the immune system and the resiliency. Stress causes acidity. Minerals alkalize acids. Minerals are like light. Minerals are the ones that I ingested from the ocean. And they're really deep, beautiful. People are into Himalayan salt and stuff. Well, the molecular match for your cells, it needs to be refined and perfect to permeate on all levels. And so when you're adequately mineralized, you have a cumulative effect also nourishing your cells and, dare I say, your spiritual structures, because as I initially said in the first part of the call, if your spiritual structures, you've got the chakras, the energy bodies, the astral, the etheric body, astral causal mental bodies, all this stuff, right? There's not just 7 chakras and not just 11. There's infinitum, and you're connected to all of that. When you lighten up like that, and you can nourish that, and you're recharged and replenished by what is a good match, chemistry from nature to you actually start to, have less stress, whether it be ailment stress, calcification, arthritic pain and things like that. And there's methods to doing that and bolstering that light, not only through minerals. And I'm big on minerals. I love the Omni Blue Ocean minerals, actually, and I provide those to my clients all over the world because it's really important. And again, so is the nutrition. It's like, the energy of how we communicate with people, what comes out, what goes in or sits in our gut or our stomach, it's important to nourish yourself. And so hopefully that made sense too. But minerals and chemistry, that stuff is...
Well, and the minerals are a large part of the electrical component of ourselves and the earth, which
massively,
is very much the essence of what everything is the electrical aspect.
Well, electrolytes, your function and optimum function, cell-to-cell communication, cell-to-organ communication. How optimum is that? And you'll be listening to this going, well, how does that do with weight loss? Let me tell you, if you can increase the absorption of your food, help balance your hormones, have a deeper restful sleep because you're alkalized with the right food nutrition that's permeating your cells at a deep level and giving you nutrition, everything switches. Even from that small change and switch up, you can actually experience great change. And you'll be like, well, how can, taking minerals do that? Well, you've got a cumulative resistance that starts to build up. Back to, electrolytes. For the example, the ocean, okay? You've got, there's elements, earth, wind, air, fire, water. The water is very cleansing. It nourishes it's your crystalline structures. We have crystalline structures and conduct energy. Diamond is the highest power of conductivity. I even have additional silica, for example, in addition to the minerals to nourish my electrolytes to replenish so I can hold the space. And again, I'm a healer. I do the work. You can read about that because I talked about identifying root cause. The difference between me as a healer is I get to mitigate karma as well.
Wow.
So I don't absorb stuff to the degree.
I know more about that, but we need to.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But that's we don't take stuff on. We can help. And so I've got to nourish my electrolytes, Anyway, minerals are amazing.
Tell us about your free gift. I know that you have a free gift for us.
Yes, I do. Thank you. And this is going to help you with some of the conversation we've had about the desires, what's important to you, and finding grace and poise and presence and allowing some soul to come in. So basically there's a guided meditation. And I've had some people that have done this for 5 or 10 days straight in a business environment or even in a family environment, and dynamics have harmonized. They really have. I'll get the message. And so there's a guided meditation, then a brief written exercise, and then you start to intertwine and interlock the two. So it's a soul's inspiration guide, and then there's a gratitude exercise. The guided meditation's got the punch in it because I'm transmitting and running some of the energies that I read. For your hormone balance, for your connection to spirit, for your connection to source, for your amplification of your energy size and body, for increasing your groundedness, and for cleaning up your spiritual structures. You will feel that, boom, look, it's like a wave. It's like a velvety wave that comes through. And again, you can reach out to me for any questions and I'll be happy to answer them. So thanks for asking. The gift is beautiful.
Well, I can't wait to try that guided meditation myself. So
awesome.
We've been talking with Aliky today, and this has been a really great conversation. Thank you so much. I think a lot of people benefited from this. And I'm going to sign off for now, but first I'm going to say be sure and check your inbox tomorrow morning for another 1 or 2 interviews. So thanks for being with us, and thanks again, Aliky.
Thanks for having me. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Jean, for putting this on for everybody to really find and cultivate more hope and more joy in their lives. I love that you're doing this, so thank you for doing this.
Thank you. I love doing it. All right. Bye for now. Bye.